how do we have our Vendettas campaign intertwine with the single-player campaign? And that was kind of the big challenge. It wasn't so much actually in creating the characters, it was just more kind of figuring out that link. And I think what we've done is we've looked at places, right off the hop, the beginning of the game, Jackie has let out the darkness, and he's kind of having a tough time controlling it. And so the first thing he does is he goes to his left hand, or his right hand guy, Vinny, and he says, "Hey Vin, I need you to find that whack job Johnny Powell that helped me suppress the darkness 2 years ago." And Vinny says, "Well, how am I going to do that?" And Jackie says, "Go get the new guys."
A narrative-based co-op is not really very straightforward to do. If you're playing a single-player game, you know who the protagonist is, right? So you know how to tell the story because you know who's the subject. In a narrative-based co-op, you've got 4 unique playable characters, and you might have one of them, you might have 4 of them. And how are you going to create an experience that's interesting for all of these characters to be part of? And how are you going to align all of their motivations so that you have an interesting story for everybody?
And so as soon as we kick off the Vendettas campaign, the very first thing you're doing is you've got Vinny standing in front of the poker table talking to this, this motley crew of guys, and he's telling them, he's like, the boss needs you to go find Johnny Powell. And I think what we did is we took that idea and we just kind of, sprinkled that all the way up through both the single-player campaign and the Vendettas campaign. So as you're going through it, you're really getting those linking story bits. And it feels kind of like the Vendettas campaign is almost like the side missions that you didn't do in the single-player campaign. That's what the Vendettas missions feel like.
Stay sharp, stay alive.
Get a good look now, because chances are, you see her on the street, you're already dead.
We really wanted to offer a lot of variety in the different characters, so as many players could be appealed to one and hone in on one and level him up all the way, yeah.
When we decided that we wanted 4 unique playable characters, a lot of what you look at then is, what do we want them to do and how can we get them to do something so that each one will complement the other? Because you can't make 4 sort of like jack-of-all-trade characters who are all kind of good at a lot of things, because then they'll just run off on their own directions and there's no reason for it to be a co-op experience. So I think that a lot of the powers that the 4 playable characters have, that Shoshana and JP, Inugami and Jimmy have, are intended to give them sort of incredibly powerful niche skills.
One of the strongest narrative parts about the Vendettas campaign is that each character, their backstory is fleshed out over the course of it. So, I mean, there's a motivation besides the fact of just like, oh wow, that was really cool, and it would be really neat to see how, this encounter played out awesome with Inugami because I was slicing up guys and I was, was sprinting and, all these types of things. But the other reason to try it as maybe Shoshana is you want to figure out like, oh wow, she's ex-Mossad, how the heck did her family get, the arm of the night, what is that thing, how does that gun work? And as you play through each of the campaign with the different characters, you're gonna get all that backstory, and trust me, it is pages and pages of backstory that we've written as we created these characters.
Each of the 4 unique playable characters has some sort of niche that they fill. For Shoshana, she's in the world of guns, right? So she has the Arm of the Night, which is her darkness-infused artifact, and it's like a 2-shotter. And you can dual wield that with anything else you want, 2-shotter, maybe an Uzi. And but since she's all guns all the time, she has an R that you can purchase from the talent tree, which makes all of the guns more powerful. She can buy gun channeling. Gun channeling is one of the powers that she can use, and just unload. It's a 2-shotter, but when you have gun channeling, you never have to reload, so it's just like bam, 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 and you can unload with the other gun. She's all about ranged combat. At the same time, you have somebody like Inugami, whose samurai sword, the Kusanagi, the 1,400-year-old sword, is a darkness-infused artifact that's all about getting in close and cutting people. So he has Swarm, which will immobilize enemies, and he can run in and slash them up close. He can run faster and farther and longer than the other characters that are in the game. The way that they're built around their weapon makes all of the gameplay moments for the characters in Vendettas really unique.
Really, the intention was to build something from the ground up that was really strong, both in the characters you play and in the story you go through, something that most co-op games actually don't really tackle these days.